Chapter 6. The Garden of Stillness. You stand in the hallway, morning light filtering softly around you, and you realize you're smiling. Not a large smile, not a performative expression for anyone's benefit, but a small, genuine curve of your lips that comes from somewhere deep inside. From some part of you that recognizes this moment as good, as right, as exactly what you need. The hallway stretches ahead of you, quiet and patient, making no demands about which direction you should go, which door you should open, which space you should explore next. Everything here exists in a state of gentle availability, offering itself without pressure, without expectation, without any sense that there's a right choice or a wrong one. You walk slowly down the hallway, bare feet making soft contact with the wide wooden planks, feeling the grain beneath your soles, feeling the slight warmth where sunlight has touched the floor through a window somewhere ahead. Each step is deliberate, conscious, a choice to move forward into discovery rather than remaining in the familiar space you've already known. The walls on either side are the same cream color as the main room, textured plaster that seems to hold light rather than simply reflect it. There are small details you notice as you walk a framed picture here. Too far away or too indistinct to see clearly, but evidence of care, of curation, of someone choosing what to place on these walls. A small table against one wall holds a simple vase with fresh flowers, wildflowers perhaps, or herbs that have bloomed, purple and white and soft yellow, arranged with artless grace and clear water. The sight of them stops you for a moment. These living things brought inside, cared for, offered as beauty for anyone passing through this hallway. You bend slightly to smell them, and the scent is delicate, not overwhelming, just a gentle fragrance that speaks of growing things, of earth and sun and rain working together to create something beautiful and temporary and worth treasuring even in its temperateness, or perhaps especially in its temper. Continuing down the hallway, you notice that the light is growing stronger, brighter, and you realize there must be a significant source of natural light ahead, a large window perhaps, or a door that opens to the outside. The thought of outside, of the world beyond this sanctuary, creates a small flutter in your chest. Not quite anxiety, but something like it. Something that asks, am I ready? Can I face what's out there? Will leaving this protected space mean losing what I found here? But the flutter subsides almost as quickly as it arose, replaced by a deeper knowing that wherever this hallway leads, whatever space waits ahead, it's still part of the sanctuary, still safe, still held, still designed for your healing and restoration, not your depletion or harm. You round a gentle curve in the hallway you hadn't realized it curved, but of course it does. Nothing here is harsh or angular or sharply defined, and there, at the end, is a door. Not just any door, but a door made almost entirely of glass. Old glass like the windows, wavy and slightly distorted but transparent enough to show what lies beyond. And what lies beyond takes your breath away. A garden, a small herb garden you glimpsed from the main room's window, but an actual garden, spacious and carefully tended, enclosed by walls but open to the sky, filled with growing things and pathways and places to sit and simply be among beauty. You move toward the glass door, drawn by the sight of green and growing things, by the play of light on leaves, by the promise of being outside but still safe, still contained within sanctuary walls. Your hand reaches for the door handle, iron or bronze. Cool and substantial under your palm hand, you turn it slowly, hearing the mechanism click and release. The door swings open, and the scent hits you first. Earth-growing things, flowers blooming, herbs releasing their oils in the warming sun. The complex, layered fragrance of a garden in full life. Everything growing and blooming and doing what living things do when they're given proper conditions. Thriving, simply thriving. You step through the doorway, crossing from inside to outside, and the air is different here. Still warm, still gentle, but moving, alive with breeze, carrying scents and sounds and the particular quality that only outdoor air possesses, that sense of vastness, of connection to something larger, of being part of the great breathing world. The garden is more beautiful than you imagined from your glimpse through the glass. It's organized but not rigid, planned but not controlling, with pathways of the same warm stones that led you to the sanctuary's door winding between planted areas, creating a sense of journey, of invitation to explore, of gentle structure that supports rather than constrains. The walls that enclose the garden are high enough to provide privacy and protection, but not so high as to feel imprisoning. They are made of old stone, weathered and varied in color, with moss growing in some of the crevices, with small plants finding purchase in gaps between stones. Evidence of nature's patient work softening human construction, making it part of the living world. Vines grow on parts of the walls, climbing upward toward light, their leaves creating patterns of green against gray stone. Their flowers some kind of climbing rose perhaps, or jasmine adding spots of color and bursts of fragrance to the air. You can see bees moving among the flowers, doing their work, pollinating, gathering, participating in the great exchange that keeps the garden alive. You take a few steps onto the nearest pathway, feeling the stones warm under your feet, feeling the sun on your face and arms and the top of your head, feeling your body respond to this warmth with something like joy, like recognition, like a flower turning toward light, because that's what flowers do. That's what living things do, they turn toward what sustains them, the planted areas on either side of the path are abundant with life. Herbs you recognize: lavender with its purple spikes and gray-green leaves, rosemary with its woody stems and needle-like foliage, thyme creeping low and spreading wide, sage with its soft fuzzy leaves. Each one offers its scent when brushed or touched. Each one holds properties of healing and flavoring and simple usefulness. But there are also flowers, many flowers, planted in what seems like artful randomness but is probably carefully considered placement. Tall ones that sway in the breeze, short ones that carpet the ground, climbing ones that reach upward, spreading ones that sprawl and tumble. Colors everywhere: purple and pink and white and yellow and orange and red, but somehow not overwhelming, somehow balanced, somehow exactly right. You kneel beside a cluster of what might be lavender, bringing your face close to the purple blooms, breathing in their distinctive scent, sweet and herbaceous and calming. The scent that's been used for centuries to promote sleep and ease anxiety and soothe troubled minds. The bees working these flowers pause in their collecting, acknowledge your presence without alarm, continue their work. You're no threat to them. You're just another creature in the garden, participating in being alive. Your fingers reach out almost without conscious direction, touching the lavender gently, feeling the texture of the blooms, the slight stickiness of the oil on the stems, the realness of it. This plant grew from seed or cutting, put down roots, drew nutrients from soil and water and sun, transformed those elements into purple flowers and healing scent and food for bees and beauty for anyone who passes by. The simple miracle of it, of growth, of transformation, of patient becoming, touches something in you. You've been so focused on what's broken, what's wrong, what needs fixing, that you've forgotten about growth, about the slow, patient work of transformation that happens when conditions are right. When there's enough water and sun and nutrient and time, you're growing too, you realize. Not in the obvious way of plants putting out new leaves, but in the deeper way of healing, of restoration, of becoming more fully yourself, more integrated, more whole. And like plants, you can't force it. You can only provide the right conditions: rest, safety, nourishment, time, and trust the process. Trust that your body and mind know how to heal when given the chance. Standing again, brushing off your knees, you continue along the pathway, letting it lead you deeper into the garden. The path curves and winds, creating little surprises around each bend. A birdbath here, a stone bench there, a small fountain in one corner where water trickles over stones, creating gentle sound that adds to the overall sense of peace. You move toward the fountain, drawn by the sound of water, by the promise of another sensory experience, another layer of this garden's offerings. The fountain is simple stacked stones with water emerging from somewhere within them, flowing down in a steady stream, collecting in a basin at the base before presumably recirculating somehow, continuing its endless cycle. The water is clear, clean, moving constantly, catching sunlight and throwing it back in sparkles and flashes. You dip your fingers into the basin, and the water is cool, refreshing, alive in the way that moving water is alive, never the same molecule twice, always flowing, always renewing, always washing clean. You cup your hands and bring water to your face, letting it drip over your forehead, your cheeks, your closed eyes. The coolness is shocking in the best way, waking up your skin, creating sensation that's vivid and immediate and grounding. Water runs down your neck, soaks into whatever you're wearing, and you don't care. It feels good, it feels clean, it feels like baptism, like renewal, like washing away what no longer serves. Sitting on the edge of the fountain's basin, you let yourself simply be here, in this garden, in this moment. With water trickling nearby and bees working and birds singing somewhere. In the trees beyond the walls and sun warming your shoulders and breeze moving through. The plants creating rustles and whispers and gentle sound. Your mind is remarkably quiet. Not empty thoughts still arise, observations still form, but spacious, uncluttered, like a room that's been cleaned and organized, where you can actually see what's present rather than being overwhelmed by chaos and debris and accumulated clutter. You think about the journey that brought you here, the exhaustion, the desperation, the moment of finally admitting you needed help, needed rest, needed sanctuary. You think about arriving at dusk, about walking that stone path, about stepping through the door into warmth and welcome and the beginning of healing. You think about the night spent by the fire, about the tears you cried, about the release of tension you'd been holding for so long you'd forgotten you were holding it. You think about waking this morning, about discovering you'd actually rested, about this strange wonder of feeling your body relaxed and your mind quiet and your heart open, and now this sitting in a garden, surrounded by growing things, feeling sun and breeze and the simple pleasure of being alive, being here, being held by this place that continues to offer itself without demand or expectation or limit. Gratitude wells up in you again. That now familiar tightness in your throat, that pressure behind your eyes that might become tears or might just be emotion too large to be easily contained. Thank you think, sending the gratitude out to the garden, to the sanctuary, to whatever force or consciousness or love created this place and maintains it and offers it freely to whoever arrives in need. A butterfly lands on a nearby flower, and you watch it, mesmerized by its delicate beauty, by the intricate pattern on its wings, by the way it moves from bloom to bloom, feeding, pollinating, participating in the great exchange of life. When was the last time you really watched a butterfly? When was the last time you had the stillness, the presence, the lack of urgency that allows such watching? The butterfly eventually flies away, disappearing over the garden wall, and you feel no need to hold on to it, no need to make it stay. It came, it was beautiful, it left. That's what butterflies do. That's what all things do. They come, they are what they are, they move on. And there's a rightness to this, a truth that resists the grasping, the holding, the trying to freeze time and make moments permanent. You can let things come and go. You think you can experience beauty without needing to own it or preserve it or control it. You can allow yourself to be moved, touched, changed by what you encounter without needing to keep it forever. This is what it means to be alive, to be constantly meeting life, constantly experiencing, constantly letting go and allowing the next moment to arrive. Standing from your seat at the fountain's edge, you continue your exploration of the garden. There are raised beds in one section, filled with vegetables, growing tomatoes, climbing stakes, leafy greens spreading wide, root vegetables with their ferny tops visible above soil. Evidence that this garden isn't just decorative but functional, that it provides nourishment, that it participates in the practical work of sustaining life. Someone tends this garden. You realize someone plants and waters and weeds and harvests. Someone cares for these growing things, pays attention to their needs, notices when they need support or pruning or protection. The thought of this care, this ongoing attention, this daily practice of tending, moves you deeply. What would it be like to live this way? To have a practice of tending, of noticing, of responding to need with care rather than judgment. To participate in the patient work of nurturing growth rather than demanding immediate results or punishing anything that doesn't produce on schedule. You can tend yourself this way. The thought arrives quietly. You can notice what you need, can respond with care, can be patient with your own growth and healing. You can be to yourself what the gardener is to this garden: attentive, responsive, committed to creating conditions for thriving rather than simply demanding performance. In the far corner of the garden, partially shaded by a tree that grows there, its branches reaching over the wall, its leaves creating dappled patterns of light and shadow on the ground, there's a bench, not ornate or decorative, but simple and solid, made of wood that's been weathered to soft gray, positioned to face back toward the garden, toward the view of all this growing life. You walk toward it, drawn by the promise of sitting in shade, of resting again, because yes, even after a night of sleep, even after waking rested, you can still rest more, can still take breaks, can still honor your body's need for pause and stillness and simply being rather than constantly doing. The bench is smooth under your hands as you sit, wood worn soft by weather and time, and probably countless other people who've sat here before you, who found this spot and claimed it for a while, who've looked out at this garden and felt what you're feeling: peace, wonder, gratitude, connection to something larger than individual struggle. From here, you can see the whole garden spread before you, the pathways winding through, the planted beds bursting with life, the fountain trickling in its corner, the walls holding it all in protective embrace, the sky above open and vast and blue with small clouds drifting. It's almost too beautiful, too perfect, too much like something from a dream or fantasy rather than reality, but it is real. The bench is solid beneath you, the breeze is moving your hair, the scents are filling your nose, the sounds are entering your ears. This is happening, right now, in this moment, and you're alive to experience it, present enough to notice it, healed enough to receive it without the static of anxiety or the filter of exhaustion obscuring everything. You lean back against the bench, feeling your spine rest against wood, feeling your body supported yet again, always supported here, always held. Your legs stretch out in front of you, ankles crossing, and you notice they look different than you remember, less tense, less swollen if they were swollen, more like legs that have rested and been cared for rather than legs that have been marched until they could barely continue. Your hands rest in your lap, and you look at them again. These hands that have done so much, carried so much, held on so tightly to control incompetence and the appearance of having everything together. They look peaceful now, resting their work for the moment simply to exist, to occasionally gesture, to feel the breeze moving across skin. Time passes, you don't know how much. The shadows shift slightly as the sun moves across the sky, but there's no urgency about it, no sense that time is running out or that you should be doing something other than what you're doing, which is this: sitting, breathing, being present, allowing yourself to soak in the beauty and peace of this garden, this sanctuary, this moment. Birds come and go from the tree above you, landing on branches, singing brief songs, flying off again. You watch them when they're visible, listen to them when they're not. Feel no need to identify species or catalog observations or do anything other than simply note to see us. Birds, yes. Singing, yes. Alive and going about their bird business in the way birds do. A small rabbit appears at the base of the garden wall, nose twitching, ears alert, clearly uncertain about whether this garden is safe territory. You stay very still, not wanting to frighten it, and after a moment of assessment, the rabbit hops further in, begins nibbling on clover growing between stones, participates in being alive, in eating, in the simple animal work of sustaining existence. You and the rabbit share this space for several minutes, you on your bench, it on the ground, both of you breathing, both of you present, both of you part of this garden's life. Then some sound or scent you can't detect alerts it to something, and it hops quickly away, disappearing through a gap in the wall you hadn't noticed. Returning to wherever rabbits go when they're not visiting gardens, the encounter feels like a gift, like the garden offering you one more small moment of beauty and connection. One more reminder that you're not separate from the natural world but part of it, that you too are an animal that needs food and water and rest and safety, that there's no shame in having basic needs, no weakness in requiring care. You close your eyes, letting yourself simply feel rather than see, the warmth of sun on your face and arms, the coolness of shade on your legs, the gentle movement of air across your skin, the solid support of bench beneath you, the sounds of garden life, trickling water, rustling leaves, birdsong, bee hum, the occasional creak of branches moving in breeze. Your breathing slows, deepens, finds its natural rhythm without you trying to control or direct it. Your body knows how to breathe, has been doing it since your first moment of life, will continue doing it until you're lost. You don't have to manage it, monitor it, make it happen. You can simply allow it, can trust it, can let your body do what bodies do. A profound sense of peace settles over you, not the peace of everything being solved or fixed or resolved, but the peace of being held in this moment, of trusting that right now, in this garden, in this sanctuary, you're safe, you're cared for, you're allowed to rest and heal and simply exist without having to prove anything or accomplish anything or be anything other than exactly what you are. You are enough. The garden seems to whisper through its rustling leaves and trickling water and singing birds. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. Your worth doesn't come from what you do or produce or achieve. It comes from the simple fact of your existence, your participation in the great mystery of being alive, your place in the web of life that connects all living things. Tears slip from your closed eyes, gentle tears, healing tears, tears that wash clean rather than tears that wound. They run down your cheeks unchecked, and you let them fall. Let them water the earth beneath your feet. Let them participate in the cycle of moisture that sustains all life, rain falling, plants drinking, animals consuming, water evaporating, clouds forming, rain falling again. Everything is connected. Do you think everything participates? Everything matters, including you, including your exhaustion and your need and your healing. You're not separate from nature, from the garden, from the great patterns of growth and rest and renewal. You're part of it, always have been, have just forgotten in the rush and pressure and demands of the world you came from. But here, in this garden, in this sanctuary, you remember what it means to be a living thing among living things. You remember that rest isn't laziness but necessity. You remember that healing takes time, that growth happens in seasons, that sometimes the most important work is simply to stop working and allow yourself to be tended, to be cared for, to receive rather than constantly giving. Opening your eyes again, you look out at the garden with new vision. Softer vision that doesn't try to analyze or categorize or improve, but simply sees, simply appreciates, simply allows beauty to be beautiful without needing to do anything with it or about it. The light is changing, you notice, not dramatically, not the abrupt shift from day to night, but the subtle softening that suggests afternoon is advancing, that the day is moving through its natural cycle, that time continues its patient work whether you're anxious about it or not. You should feel some urgency about this, some worry about what comes next, about how long you can stay, about when you'll have to leave sanctuary and return to the world of demands and deadlines and responsibilities. But you don't. The worry doesn't come. Instead, there's just trust that you can stay as long as you need to. Trust that the sanctuary will continue to hold you. Trust that whatever comes next will be right, will be exactly what needs to happen. Standing slowly from the bench, you stretch, feeling your body lengthen and articulate, feeling muscles engage and release, feeling joints move smoothly through their ranges of motion. Your body feels good, feels strong in a different way than usual, not the brittle, tense strength of someone holding themselves together through force of will, but the supple, resilient strength of someone who's rested and nourished and cared for. You walk back through the garden slowly, taking your time, stopping occasionally to touch a leaf or smell a flower or simply stand and breathe and notice what's around you. Each plant you pass seems to offer something. Lavender offers calm, rosemary offers clarity, roses offer beauty, sage offers wisdom, thyme offers patience, not literally perhaps, but symbolically, metaphorically, in the way that paying attention to growing things can teach you about your own growth. At the fountain again, you pause for one more drink, cupping water in your hands, bringing it to your mouth, swallowing the coolness, the cleanness, the simple gift of water that sustains all life. Thank you, you think, to the fountain, to the water, to the whole miraculous system that brings water from deep earth to this basin where you can drink. The pathway leads you back toward the glass door. back toward the interior of the sanctuary, and you feel no resistance to going back inside. Outside and inside aren't opposites here, aren't competing territories, but different aspects of the same sanctuary. Different rooms in the same house, different expressions of the same care and welcome and safety. At the door, you turn back for one more look at the garden, wanting to hold this image, wanting to remember the peace you felt here, the connection, the sense of being part of something larger and more beautiful than individual struggle. The garden will be here, you realize, when you need it again, when you want to return to this peace, this growing life. This reminder of your own ability to grow and heal it will be here, waiting, patient, offering itself as it has today. You step through the glass door, back into the cool dimness of the hallway, and the door closes softly behind you with a gentle click. Inside again, but carrying outside with you, carrying the scent of lavender and earth, carrying the peace of sitting in shade watching life unfold, carrying the memory of rabbit and butterfly and bees going about their work, carrying the deep knowing that you are part of the great web of life, not separate from it, not less than it, but woven into it in ways you're only beginning to understand. The hallway seems welcoming in a different way now, more familiar, less unknown. You've passed through it twice, now once going toward the garden, once returning, and it's become known territory, safe territory, another room in the house of sanctuary that's caring for you. You walk slowly back toward the main room, toward the fireplace and the sofa and the windows looking out at trees. Your body feels pleasantly tired, the good tiredness that comes from gentle movement and fresh air and sun on skin. Not the exhausted depletion you arrived with, but the satisfied fatigue of a body that's been used gently, that's participated in being alive. At the doorway to the main room, you pause, looking in at the space that held you through your first night here, that witnessed your arrival and your tears and your first deep sleep in longer than you can remember. It looks different now in afternoon light, softer somehow, more lived in, more yours. The fire has gone completely out. You see, the hearth holds only ash now, gray and white and soft, the final transformation of wood that burned to warm you. Someone will build a new fire later, you think, when evening comes, when the air cools, when warmth is needed again. The fireplace doesn't mourn the fire that's gone. It simply waits, patient and ready, to hold the next fire when the time comes. You move to the sofa and sit, not lying down this time, but sitting upright, alert but relaxed, present and aware. The room feels peaceful in the afternoon, quiet. Less dramatic than it was in firelight, but no less safe, no less welcoming, no less committed to your healing and restoration. Through the windows, you can see that the day is indeed advancing, the light softer and more golden, the shadows longer, the quality of afternoon settling into its particular character. Time is passing, as time does, moving you forward through this day, through this experience, through this journey of healing and rest. But you're not anxious about it. You're not fighting it, or resisting it, or wishing it would slow down or speed up. You're simply here, in this moment, in this room, breathing and being and allowing yourself to continue resting, continue healing, continue discovering what it means to be held by sanctuary. The sanctuary breathes around you, with you, for you. The garden grows beyond the glass door. The hallway connects spaces. The main room holds you in its warmth and welcome. And you rest, you heal, you slowly remember what it means to be whole. You move to the sofa and sit, not lying down this time, but sitting upright, alert but relaxed, present and aware. The room feels peaceful in the afternoon, quiet. Less dramatic than it was in firelight, but no less safe, no less welcoming, no less committed to your healing and restoration. Through the windows, you can see that the day is indeed advancing, the light softer and more golden, the shadows longer, the quality of afternoon settling into its particular character. Time is passing, as time does, moving you forward through this day, through this experience, through this journey of healing and rest. But you're not anxious about it. You're not fighting it, or resisting it, or wishing it would slow down or speed up. You're simply here, in this moment, in this room, breathing and being and allowing yourself to continue resting, continue healing, continue discovering what it means to be held by sanctuary. The sanctuary breathes around you, with you, for you. The garden grows beyond the glass door. The hallway connects spaces. The main room holds you in its warmth and welcome. And you rest, you heal, you slowly remember what it means to be whole. You lean back against the sofa cushions, letting your head rest, letting your neck release whatever small tension has crept back in during your walk through the garden. Your body knows how to do this now, knows how to find support, knows how to let go of holding, knows that the cushions will be there, solid and soft and exactly what you need. Your eyes trace the patterns of light moving across the ceiling as afternoon sun filters through the wavy glass windows. The light shifts and dances, creating gentle movements that are mesmerizing without being demanding, beautiful without requiring anything from you except the willingness to notice, to see, to appreciate small moments of loveliness. There's a particular quality to this hour of the day, you think. Not morning's freshness or evening's settling, but afternoon's patient continuation, the middle space where nothing is beginning or ending but simply ongoing, sustained. held in the arc of daylight that stretches from sunrise to sunset. You're learning to appreciate these middle spaces, these times of neither nor, these moments that don't announce themselves as significant but hold their own quiet importance. Your hands rest on your thighs, and you notice how naturally they've settled there. How they're not fidgeting or grasping or needing to be busy with something, just resting, just being hands. When did you become someone whose hands could rest? When did the constant need for occupation, for productivity, for doing something useful, release its grip enough that your hands could simply exist without purpose or task? The change feels significant, feels like evidence of something fundamental shifting in you. You're not the same person who arrived here exhausted and desperate. You're becoming someone who can rest, who can receive care, who can exist without constantly producing or performing or proving worth through endless doing. A small sound draws your attention, a bird, landing on the windowsill outside. Its tiny clawed feet making the softest tap against stone. It's small, brown and gray with bright eyes, and it tilts its head as if looking in at you, as if curious about the human sitting so still inside this room. You remain motionless, not wanting to startle it, and for a long moment you and the bird regard each other across the barrier of wavy glass. Then, satisfied with whatever it came to see, the bird launches itself back into air, wings beating in that impossibly fast flutter that defies gravity and carries it up and away, disappearing into the branches of trees you can see beyond the sanctuary walls. The brief encounter feels like a blessing, like the universe sending a small messenger to check on you, to witness your healing, to acknowledge that you're here, you're real, you're part of the living world. You find yourself thinking about all the versions of yourself that have existed: the child you were, the young person finding your way, the adult trying to meet demands and expectations, the exhausted person who finally broke and admitted you needed help. All of them are you. All of them brought you to this moment. All of them deserve acknowledgement and compassion and thanks for getting you here, to this sanctuary, to this healing. Thank you. You think sending gratitude backward through time to all the versions of yourself who kept going, who survived, who made it through difficult moments and painful experiences and overwhelming challenges. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for continuing. Thank you for finally being willing to admit you needed rest, needed help, needed sanctuary. The afternoon continues its gentle progression toward evening, and you feel no need to rush it or slow it, no need to do anything except allow it to unfold as it will. You've spent so much of your life trying to control time, trying to make it go faster when you were bored or uncomfortable, trying to make it slow down when you were happy or didn't want something to end. But time does what time does, regardless of your wishes, and there's a strange freedom in accepting this. In surrendering to the simple fact that you move through time rather than controlling it. Your breathing has settled into a rhythm so natural, so effortless, that you barely notice it, just the gentle rise and fall of your chest. The cool air entering your nose, the slightly warmer air leaving your mouth, the constant exchange that keeps you alive without requiring conscious effort or management. Your body knows how to breathe. Your body knows how to heal. Your body knows what it needs. If you can just listen, just pay attention, just trust it to do its work. The light continues to shift and soften, painting the room in shades of gold and amber, and you can feel something in you shifting too, softening, opening to the possibility that healing might actually be happening, that rest might actually be working, that you might actually be becoming someone who knows how to care for yourself, who deserves care, who can receive it without guilt or shame or the constant nagging voice that says you should be doing more, being more, trying harder. Maybe, you think, maybe this is what home feels like, not a building or a location, but a state of being where you're safe and held and allowed to rest. Maybe home is wherever you can be fully yourself, exhausted or joyful, broken or whole, without having to perform or pretend or prove anything. Maybe you've been searching for home in external places when it was always this acceptance, this rest, this gentle allowing of whatever you are in any given moment. You are safe, you are held, you are part of something larger. An evening will come, bringing with it new fire, new warmth, new layers of rest and restoration, and it is enough.
you.